Welcome to DefineURadio After Dark Conversations, where real people have unfiltered conversations about the topics that influence the way we think, feel, and move. Each week with your host, Valencia Griffin Wallace.
Welcome to DefineURadio After Dark Conversations. I am your host, Valencia Griffin Wallace, and today we are discussing the talk. You know, the talk that you have with your Black children about the world and them being Black in the world. Joining the conversation tonight are my queens, Queen Lyvonne and Queen Shannon. Queen, say hello.
Hello, great
Hello.
people.
I'm hoping we keep the same energy throughout the show. So I'm scared, Jesus.
This one, I don't know. This one might go left, honey.
I know. Y'all
Okay,
already know how I'm feeling too.
Okay.
So,
I hear the bass. I hear the bass. So, Queen Lyvonne, did you come out of 2020 feeling people were more or less racist?
I would say I didn't feel either people were more or less. I just think we became more aware of the
Mm-hmm.
hidden racism.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody shine the spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Queen Shannon,
I
I hear it.
I agree. I agree. I mean, I 100% agree. I think, a lot of them were hidden for such a long time, and they finally felt like they were able to be free, and we just began to learn about them. So I don't think that, you know, it was more or less. I think it was stuff that was always there, just never exposed.
Mm-hmm.
I came out or during 20 I felt like people I was aware of it more. So I took this approach. You're racist until otherwise. That's how I went. I think I mentioned maybe on a previous show or a private conversation about what happened at the post office because
Mm-hmm.
this poor older white lady, I probably looked like I was about to murk her or something. I
Oh
don't
my
know.
God.
But I did definitely like that's the attitude I took. Like until you prove otherwise, you're racist.
Mm-hmm.
But I could, if I'm 100, I know that probably makes me a little racist because I was like nobody's safe. If you wasn't brown or my husband or a few people related to him, you were racist. So that means that goes for Asians, Mexicans, whatever else. So it wasn't just like white people, you
Mm.
know.
Wow.
Um, and so I really kind of was just like, Mace on 10 and however it go from that. Um, but I think for black people, I think for black people, it was like we been knew this.
Mm-hmm.
We've been what they call it microaggressions, and I think
Mm-hmm.
the microaggressions came other aggressions. I got definitely pissed off from all the I forgive videos and
Mhm.
all the extra because personally I feel like when somebody's being racist, it's caught on video, it blows up, whatever, you come back and forgive. To me,
Mm-hmm.
that's like giving a pass to the other people that's racist,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you
Yeah, it's
know.
okay as long as you say you're sorry.
Right.
Mm. Hmm.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah,
We ain't with that.
not.
Don't tell me you're sorry. Show me your actions of being sorry.
Yes.
You
I don't
know,
want to hear the words.
I I forgive nothing. Period. You
Hmm.
look at me sideways, I don't forgive you. You
Hmm.
know. So let's how deep look. I had 43, almost 44 years in this thing. I look.
Lord.
I'm just saying, like, all that forgiveness talk, or they didn't mean to do it, or this was, it slipped, and whatever. And I'll say that I've said some things that other people may probably consider they're racist. I've and no stuttering, it's just my mouth dry. um I've said some things that other people may take a certain way, but at my age, it's like I don't care. If it don't apply, let it fly. Period.
Yeah.
Especially, with me being a foster mom now, and I'm seeing some things I really don't like, dealing with the system. I have said some, I don't want to say ugly, because if it don't apply, let it fly.
Mhm.
Period. You know,
Pretty much.
um, that's my thing. And then for anybody that, God forbid, something happens to you and it does go viral, and the
Hmm.
person apologizes, and you want to get online saying you accept their apology, please make it clear that that's just for you. That's
It's
not
not
for
for
black
the
people
whole race.
across because right.
You're gonna get
Like
people
me.
mixed up.
Right. Thinking, because somebody forgave somebody, and oh, they just had a racist moment. That's like
Mm-mm.
saying I had a black moment. No, I'm black 24/7.
That part.
Mhm.
This is not
Exactly.
just a moment. This is what it is.
Right.
Exactly.
So next time somebody wants to, I forgive them for being racist, make sure you make it clear it's just about you.
Mm.
Cause somebody gonna get maced and hurt behind somebody else thinking black people forgive across the board. No. Don't know if there are black people like that. Maybe it's a whole family of forgivers. That's not my DNA.
But it's not a one for all.
Right.
It's
And
not a
somebody need to put that on the shirt. I
Mm-mm.
forgive nothing. I'm gonna Google it. I bet it's a shirt that
It
say
might
that.
be one.
I believe
Uh,
so.
okay. So we're gonna bring this back to children. We're gonna have to talk about our feelings another show. Um, but what's the name of it? Between the World and Me. Ta-Nehisi Coates' book.
Hmm.
I never read it, so I'm not even gonna lie. But now there's like they made it into like a thing where, because basically it's like him writing a letter to his 15-year-old self or his 15-year-old son. I'm not exactly sure, but basically about how dealing with the world and things he's seeing as a black man, which is one of the reasons why I want to have this discussion. Um, at what point? Okay, I know Lyvonne has. I'm guessing have you sat your kids down, even though they're grown? Did you sit down and have, quote unquote, the talk with them?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Um, Growing up, because when they're smaller, kids play with kids. They just play with kids.
Right.
They don't see any color. They just know this is my friend, and having to explain to them. And I want to say maybe the first conversation, maybe around 4 and 6, 2 and 4. They were very young. And I just remember my husband and I, we were at a laundromat, and my son had, he was he was a very friendly little kid, and was playing. And I remember what the parent of this child came and snatched that child up so quick,
Mm.
like,
Mm.
and you can tell the almost like disgust and the way they treated the child, like, and they were saying, well, you know better, you shouldn't be over here, and you're not supposed to do this. But then to see the child, looking like confused, like, why can't I play? I just want to play. And
Right.
having try, and then me recognizing it, my husband and I recognizing, like, okay, how do you tell your child they can't go play with somebody?
Mm.
And so at that point, we had to tell them, not everybody's gonna like you. And it won't be because you've done anything wrong, but it's just because the color of your skin. And
Mm.
of course, even going into school, once they got to school age, having that conversation. And that is a real conversation that parents need to have if they're not having that with their kids, telling them everyone is not going to be your friend and everyone is not going to like you. And
Right.
sometimes it's not going to have anything to do with the way you treated them or the way you are, anything that you've done or said. It's simply because you were not born the color they thought was superior.
Mm.
Mm.
So yeah, you, and of course having a male son, that is something we've had to communicate. I would say even more because and I hate to say it, but actually had a teacher when my son was in the second grade. That told us. She pulled us to the side and said, I just want y'all to be aware that your son, you have to treat your son with a lot of care and attention. And she said, do not allow the system to
Mm.
tell you or stereotype him, because she said your son literally has like three strikes against him coming into school. He's black, he's smart, and he's a boy.
Mm.
Mm.
And I mean, we had a teacher actually tell us that, and and going through school, especially knowing his intelligence, and he is very smart, and to see how that some people didn't like that. Like it was wrong for him to be smart and to be black and to be male.
Mm.
It was like a threat. So the conversations that parents have to have.
Queen Shannon, same question. I'm sorry. Shannon, you're on mute.
Yeah, I'm here. There we go. Okay. Um, I have had that conversation with him. I cannot say. I remember having the conversation with him when he was little, but not so in depth. Um, but we've had that conversation here actually probably within the past couple of weeks. We kind of touch on it again every so often. Um, especially with considering, there's a lot of stuff on YouTube and a lot of stuff
Mhm.
on, just different platforms they're on, TikTok, all this kinds of things.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, so it's out there, and of course he has questions. He's only 12, but he has questions. Well, why is this? Why is that? So yeah, pretty much like Queen Lyvonne said, I have to explain to him. Well, first of all, you've got you know three strikes against you coming into this
Hmm.
world. You're
Yeah.
black, you're a male, um, and you're intelligent. You've
Hmm.
got three things against you already, and you're gonna have to fight most of your life. And I don't mean physically fight, but I had explained to him it's not a physical fight. And truth be told, there may be times where it may come to you wanting to do that, but we try not to do that. I mean, I just got to be honest with him. I'm not going to tell him, yo, you're not going to get into fights. No, that's crazy, because
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know anybody. I mean, we see videos on Instagram where people walk up on guys and just want to try them. We
Yep.
see it happen all the time. So, I have to try to tell him, you have to be prepared for it every day. And, him being 12, he has a lot of questions of like, well, what did we do to them to make them want to treat us like that? What did,
Mm.
you know, what, like, and I really, I don't have an answer for him. I can't tell him what we did, because as far as I can research and find out there, I don't see what we did that would have caused the reactions that we get. So I have to try to explain it to him the best way I can. Um, I do try to get him some reading material. I had him do some research and reading on, I believe his name is Adabenga, um, 21-year-old black male that they kidnapped from Africa. This was even after slavery and everything. Kidnapped him from Africa and locked him in the Bronx Zoo like he was an animal on display.
Mm.
Um, and just was there, and it took some years for some people to actually voice their opinion. Of course, it wasn't black people. It had to be white people to say, well, hey, this isn't right. You don't need to have him. He's not a monkey. He's a human being. Doesn't need to be in there. And when they finally did release him, he ended up shooting and killing himself,
Mm.
Wow.
because he couldn't understand why they were doing what they were doing to him. Like he couldn't grasp any of that. And I had, I've had him do the research on that and had him to see, and it hurts that I'm gonna be honest, it really hurts that I even should have to talk to my child about this.
Yeah,
To have to
that part.
tell him,
Right.
son, you got to be on your P's and Q's, stay on your guard. You're intelligent. So, these are the reasons why I push you like I do for school and stuff, and why I push you to focus and to understand that life is not about some Jordans. Life is not about Michael Kors. Michael, this is why I'm trying to teach you that that's not what it's about. I need you to understand and grasp the deeper pieces of what's there. And I shouldn't have to I don't, I mean, eventually, but at 12, I don't think I should have to, but because it's thrown in his face, and I
Mhm.
can
Mm,
hear even at 12 the anger that he has behind it. He don't trust police at all. He does not trust them. When he was little, there was that innocence, and he would just walk up to police and just talk to them, and he didn't care. He didn't think about it. But
Mhm.
now it's, Mama, why that police looking at me?
hmm.
What he want with us? And
Mhm.
I hate that he has to feel that way. And truth be told, I will be honest, I've cried about that many of times. Like, why? Why is that? Like, I don't get it, and I don't guess I'll never get it. That I have to sit here and school him on, well, when someone you start to learn how to drive, we'll cover how you need to do things when you're driving. We'll go
Right.
over that.
Mhm.
When you start going, actually get old enough and go out, I need you to be mindful of your surroundings, make sure you're out with the right group of people. If you see somebody walking up, I understand if it ain't your cousins and or somebody you're real cool close with, walk away from the whole situation. I
Shouldn't
don't
have
know.
to.
It bothers me that we have to have these kinds of conversations. Because for a fact, white people are not having these conversations ever at all with their children. They don't
Yep.
have to. I mean, if we're just going to
Yep.
be honest, they never have to think about, oh, well, if the police pulls you over, you just called me. That's the only thing they're going to tell them. You called me.
Mhm.
Us, we got to tell them, keep your hands on the steering wheel up at 10 and 2. Don't move unless he say so. Don't back mouth. Don't say, just answer him
Mhm.
like you need to answer him,
Let you
and
know.
pray that you get out of it, and we can handle it when you get out of it.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Because at this point, it's life or death. At that very moment that they supposedly just traffic stop a ticket, it's life or death for you as a black male.
Hmm.
And that's, it's crazy to me. So, I mean, I had the conversation. I continue to have the conversation. Like I said, every couple of weeks, we kind of, revisit it, depending on if he sees something sooner and he has questions or he wants to know certain things. But yeah, the way I feel about it, I'm probably going to have to continue to have these conversations with
Yeah.
him, until probably for the rest of his life, but at least until he's grown.
Hmm. And I hear it in y'all voice, and it it pisses me off to have the conversation. You know,
Hmm.
and I remember as far as with Cam, just trying to. I can't remember how old he was, but I kind of did what my mama did, meaning anybody ever call you ninja, fight, no questions.
Hmm.
You punch them dead in their throat or something of that nature. Um, and really, that's literally what my mama did, but or tell me. And so I kind of told him that because I was like, okay, he could easily relate to that as being a bad word, something nobody's supposed to say. Um, because I didn't know how to have that talk, with him when I was, when he was younger, way young, like elementary, pre-K, that kind of stuff. So that's what I said. And in fact, the first person to ever call him a ninja was black, and he did hit the child. But so that furthered the discussion. Um, but having those talks with him in it was kind of like, you're black, people are jealous because you are better.
Hmm.
They may not like you. They may try to hurt you. Um, they may say mean things to you or treat you whatever kind of way. And if that happens, you tell them your mother will kill them
Oh my
and
God.
you let me know. I'm talking about, when he was younger, we just going through, I'm just being honest. Like, because I very much like don't make me shut it down,
Mhm.
um, because I was very observant. I never forget when he had a birthday party. um I don't know, he was like second grade, third grade, whatever. And because of the area we lived at the time, he invited his classmates and stuff. And one particular kid's name was Wyatt. So I knew Wyatt was not black.
Mhm.
Okay. I don't know no black people named Wyatt.
Right.
Okay. Not saying it don't. So I called Wyatt's mom and
Mhm.
I said, I just want to make sure you know that my son is black. Because Cameron, the name Cameron could be either way.
True.
Right.
And she was like, "Oh yeah, no, that doesn't matter." I was like, "Okay," because I ain't, I don't
Don't
start
want to
nothing,
feel
won't be
it.
done,
That
you
part.
know. But I resent, and they like remain friends. Like even when I see him now or his mom now, we still speak or whatever else. So they remain friends, associates. I don't know what you call it. They weren't like best friends, but they were friends for a while.
Mhm.
And so I had to have more talks about racism with Cameron when we would have his best friend, since first grade is half white, half Chinese.
Okay.
So people would look really a certain kind of way at him and say things. And I had to break people down and then break it down to them as kids, not understanding, especially because he looked more Asian.
Mhm.
um And so the he hadn't had that talk in any way, shape, or form, and didn't
Oh.
understand. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I broke it down to them in the situational way. And when Cameron started driving, I was like, look, there's this button right here. You see a light, push it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
I need that alert, so on and so forth. Don't move, don't breathe. You act like you don't speak English. Just stay still, mama coming. You know, um, and that's because where he was driving in the area that we live is very, very small. But truthfully, I knew basically all the cops out here.
Right.
I wasn't worried about him in our area,
Mhm.
and he wasn't old enough to drive outside the area. That brought a whole other thing.
Right.
But just having that talk, and the thing is, I want him to be aware, but not fear, because I've always had this thing, and I did tell him, like with me, if it's my time to go, it's my time to go. Don't fear death, because at the end of the day, there's nothing you could do to stop to
Nothing.
stop it.
That's true.
And
Nothing.
so that's kind of how I went to it. I said, yeah, there's stupid, real stupid people on all sides, right?
Mhm.
But we just look at the one side and just say they just don't like you because you're black.
Hmm.
I don't care. I said, you do what you got to do in the situation, try to remain calm, but fear nothing,
Right.
period. Because I didn't want him riding around with that anxiety of fear. And my husband
Mhm.
has said he fears more for me than he does for my son.
Wow.
Mm.
Well, because there was an incident like many, I don't know, 2012 or whatever, that a cop pulled me over at nighttime on the interstate. I was happened to be on the phone with my friend and her friend who was a cop, right? So
Mhm.
I'm on my speaker
Mhm.
with another cop and my friend, because we're
Mhm.
all friends. And a cop pulled me over, and I was going off because he had no right to pull me over and everything else. And that's it was what it was. And I got in the car, and you know what he said? He was like, "You lucky you ain't on side the road somewhere, or he ain't beat you." I was like, "Let me tell you one thing. Yeah, y'all would know. I promise on everything I love. I'm not scared to die. I don't want to die. I'm not scared to die.
Right.
And I'm not gonna carry around a fear in my heart. I'm gonna carry around an awareness of
Mhm.
me being a black woman in a world that looks at me a certain way, but I'm not going to let it get so ingrained in me that it changes who I am. And that's the one thing I've tried to teach Cameron. But I've also opened the gate so to speak, to where I'll ask him, number one, I tell him, don't watch the trauma porn, okay? Because you already know what's what, you know how it's going to turn out.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you know what it is. So seeing
Right.
it only adds to what you already know,
Mhm.
you know. And I tell him, but I take the opportunity to have questions. How are you feeling about this? For him to let him get all his feelings out
Right.
about whatever he saw, whatever's going on, to check on his mental health. Because who will burn the world down if they child feels some kind of way? It's me.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, I'm just saying, like we ain't even gonna talk when he was pledging.
Oh Lord.
Lord.
Okay. Uh, but it was because I don't want him to fear. Like I want him to know this is what it is. You know, this is exactly what it is. Because the same people that try to talk about, you know, black women or whatever, you out here tanning and getting Botox, saline,
That
salt and
part.
water, I don't know, up in your lips.
That
If
part.
that's not jealousy, I'm sorry, I don't know what it is. So I will not apologize for already being what others are trying to be,
Mhm.
nor do I want him to feel like that. And I look at it like Benji. Benji, a lot of people, that's my little dog.
Mhm.
Benji, nobody's threatened by Benji. He looks like a little 17-pound mutt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Try him.
Hmm.
Try him. Because in his heart, he has no fear. In his heart, he's as big as the big dog.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Regardless of how the world sees him or may treat him. And that's what I want Cameron to understand. And I want him to know it's okay to say, Mom, I feel this kind of way, or this happened, or that happened, or whatever. I want him to know the gate is open, but I also want him to know that there's no fear.
Right.
There's no fear. Because at the end of the day, son, mama love you. I will catch one behind you. But you cannot control when it's your time to go. And just know we gonna fight till the end.
Yeah.
That part.
And I had to do it that way. Because I didn't want him worrying about, and this is across the board, why, really, and you want to know why, because it doesn't make sense. So if it
It
doesn't make
doesn't.
sense, then that tells me you stupid. How can
Right.
you not? How can you don't like black people? What's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? Stay out the sun then, bruh.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know? So that's me. Hence the incident at the post office. Hence why I run across, people ask me like, where am I from? Because I'm not gonna, lower my head or walk quiet or try to make myself small to make you comfortable.
Period.
And you better stay 6 feet times six. 6 times 6 feet, you know? So
Mhm.
and I had to, that's works what has worked for me. And Cameron, because of that, has became that kid, like, with those okay people, and I'm doing my air quotes, that because some black person gave them a pass to say the N-word, right? Because Cameron has
Mm.
had incidents of that. He'll call me, literally, this just happened like a couple of months ago. He'll call me and he'll be like, no, he called me before. It's like he foresaw what was gonna happen. I don't know why. Long story short, but he did tell the dude, like, I don't know who you was around. They told you that was okay, but it ain't okay around me. I was like, that's how I know that's my child all day.
Mhm.
Mhm. Period.
He said it more polite than I have previously said it to other people. Um, you know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, like I want you to know that when it's your time to go, it's your time to go.
Yeah.
So you have nothing to fear. Period. You be aware of what's going on. You be aware of who you're friends with. Be aware of who's looking at you, who's watching your pocket. Be aware of everything, and you better fight to the death. Period.
Mhm.
And but to have that talk to say that it sucks, and Craig actually a couple of years ago, um, can't remember when it was or what happened. He went through this thing and he wanted to sit down and talk with Cam. And so we sat
Wow.
down and Craig was like, just be careful out there because these cops and da 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 this and this and because that's what Craig felt like he needed to do because he felt that fear for Cam. And I had and they talked whatever and then I expressed my point of view,
Mhm.
you know. And my husband he fears for me and I tell him don't fear for me because I when it's my time to go, it's my time to go. Whether I'm 127 or just 100.
Lord.
And rather however I die, I'm not going quiet.
I think for Craig that's more of what his fear is.
I'm saying, like, God forbid I get, cancer or something of that nature, lose a leg or something like that. Oh, I'm fighting all in a hospital bed. Who you gonna know I was here to the last moment.
Yeah, I think that's his thoughts right there.
You know what? That's exactly why y'all can't talk to him. That's exactly why he is somewhere else. And so with that being said,
And I think the main what you, Queen Valencia, and I love something that you said is that we have to have these conversations with our kids,
yeah,
especially our boys. We feel even more so obligated to have these conversations with them,
yeah,
while at the same time reassuring them that they can live their life
yeah,
without fear. We want
Mhm.
them to be aware, but we don't want
Mhm.
them to be afraid.
Right.
yep.
And
Oh, I love you
that's the
summed it
hard
up.
thing, that balance.
Yeah,
Yep.
and you that's the key though. That's the key. And as parents, um, you learn along the way. What to say, what not to say, how to say it.
True.
And those different things. And this is things you have to kind of play by ear, even letting them ask questions or say how they feel or get it off their chest,
True.
Mhm.
you know, and know that they got mamas. Look, they got too many backwoods in Louisiana. Don't play. Back roads that don't even have names. They just got numbers. Ask somebody.
Mhm.
Jesus.
Um, how do you teach racial pride to your child without teaching racism or having them feel like I don't deal with those kind of people? You understand what I'm saying? Because
Mhm.
because I am a proud black woman. I would never want to have been born anything else. I love my beautiful brownness, everything about being a black woman.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So how do you teach them that without teaching them because of
Arrogant.
their yeah, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
I think it just boils down to, for me, a couple of things. One, I teach him you don't hate anybody.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If they're good to you, you're good to them. That's to me, that's just plain and simple. Do unto others as you have them do unto you. So if they're good to you,
Mhm.
you return that. You don't bend over backwards to try to make anybody like you or approve of anything you're doing. That's a no. I don't care what
That
color
part.
they are.
Mhm.
Um, and then I make sure that he understands and has a history of the black man. So I help him to
Mm,
understand that, first of all, the black man, black woman were the original and the first humans, the very first. So everything that you see has to have come from us. I make
mm,
him research and understand this country we in was founded on the backs of black folk. All of the stuff, the great inventions that we have to do now, we have the stop sign and the stop light and all these things. All of those, open heart surgery, all of that was done by black people. So I help him understand the pride of what it is to be a black person, to be a black man and know what's in you, and to
Mhm.
understand the kind of knowledge and the kind of drive and perseverance and strength that we have. I
mm.
let it get, it's fine. All the bad stuff that happened, and yeah, we don't like it. But on the flip side of that, Here's the great things that we've done. Here's the
Yep.
greatness that resides in us. This is the stock you come from right here.
Mm.
So I make sure he understands that piece. So yeah, you be proud to be a black man. Don't you ever take down and say, "Oh, I wish I wasn't black." Baby, there's nothing better in this world to be. But now on the
Mm-hmm.
flip side, yeah, you don't hate anybody. If they come at you right, you deal with them right. So you can't say you hate the whole, because the whole race ain't like that. All of them are not like that, and I'll give them that. Every one of them not like that. There are some that really absolutely hate the prejudice and the hatred that is given to us.
Mm-hmm.
I said,
True.
and those are the
Your
ones when you
brother-in-law.
recognize them, right? When you recognize them and you have some of those in your corner, you treat them like human beings as you treat each other like human beings. Now, I can't tell you that them other ones, you don't have to deal with them one way or the other. Because at the end of the day, it's a matter of fear. They fear what they don't understand, and fear will breed ignorance every time. So they ignorant, and you far above that, so you don't have to deal with that. So I
Mm.
just make sure that he understands the glory of being a black person.
Mm. Queen Lyvonne.
Just reiterating things that Queen Shannon said is helping them to understand the pride that comes from our culture. There are so many great things that people of color have done that you have to just feel good about. I reinforce their own intelligence, their own value, their self-worth, making sure they understand who they are, not only where they come from, but who they are and what's in them. And as she said, making sure they understand you don't mistreat anybody, because then you become like what you're hating.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So you don't stoop to their level. You don't do the same thing they're doing. You don't hate on someone, because none of us when we're born have any decision. We have no choice as to how we enter this earth, at what color.
Mm-hmm.
So we cannot hate on someone. So just enforcing to them that we're gonna love our neighbors, love on people, but it does not mean you have to invite them into your home.
Exactly.
So have pride in yourself, and love others the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. And I think just to kind of, you know, mix the roux up in here with y'all gumbo ingredients. Um, what I think people should do, what I did is like teach them their history beyond
Mm-hmm.
slavery.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do believe like the school system, at least when I was in it, I don't know now, and I taught my son other things. When it teaches slavery, it teaches oppression. It teaches
Mm-hmm.
like this group was able to enslave this group, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But you teach, and so unless you look and make a conscious effort to teach your children beyond that, then if they think they started with slavery, that's a whole other mindset. So you have to, teach them, that part. And then once you know that they're getting that part, like daily seeing the greatness, those things in them. Because if I love me, then I don't even have time to hate you.
That's it right there.
Exactly.
That's it.
If I, you know,
Mm-hmm.
so, and that's why I've always like kind of fed that into Cameron,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what my mom did to me, you know. Like
Mm-hmm.
I never was jealous of somebody because of, or felt some kind of way because of their color, their race, or whatever, because my mom had instilled in me so much love of the skin I'm in,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
that, and I really didn't understand it till I got older and I saw issues other people had.
Right.
So I think that's the important part. So one last question, and thank y'all so much. One last question is, if a parent or somebody is like, they know they need to have the talk, what age do you recommend, and what do you recommend that they like say, or how do they start, with that? Queen Lyvonne.
I think. I'm not going to say that there's an age that's too early, because to me, I put that in the same category as with sex and drugs and everything else. You have to start teaching your kids early. If you're not sure what age, you really have to assess your environment and your surroundings and seeing what they're coming in contact with. Because
Mhm.
as I stated earlier, when I had the first talk to my son, I wasn't expecting to have to talk to him at that age about, racism. But if you encounter a situation, you may have to have that conversation, and you have to detail the conversation to match the child's intellect. You
Mhm.
can't go into some deep history, on a 4-year old.
Right.
You have to make it in their terms, in their language. So, but I don't think there's an age that is too early to start teaching them to love themselves, to love the color
Mhm.
of their skin, have pride in themselves, and teaching them their history. Saying some, just affirmations of how beautiful their skin is, or you come from some good stock, or your
Mhm.
ancestors. So I don't think there's too early of an age, but I do think the conversation has to be detailed to match the child's intellect at that time.
Mhm.
Mm. Queen Shannon.
I mean, I think Queen Levon said it perfect. Like, eh, absolutely. Um, you have to, like she said, please match their intellect because, yeah, I mean, you can give them some history, but depending on where they are in their intellect and their mentality, you have to, figure it around them, put it around
Hmm.
how they can understand it, how they'll comprehend it, because it does you no good to have the conversation and they can't grasp what you're talking about, and
True.
they can't
Right.
really, they're not going to grow from that because they don't understand. So I 100% agree with that. And I honestly don't think that there's an age too young as well, especially depending, I'll say this, especially considering it's 2021. And
Exactly.
I mean, my 1-year-old niece knows how to grab her father's iPhone, turn it on,
Mm.
and go to YouTube.
Oh,
Mm.
wow.
So, one of my coworkers just had a baby yesterday, and he's already holding his head up, looking around.
Mm.
These children are coming out way too smart now. They're not the
Mm.
kids from when we were little and you got to hold their head, you got to do no, they don't need you to hold
No,
their head anymore. They got it. They want you to
they
move
come out
so they
No.
can
with it.
see right. They want you to move so they can see what's going on in this world. They come out together. So
Yeah.
I don't think, and as time progresses and time goes on, there's no specific age you're gonna have to wait and say, oh well, I'll wait till they get 16. No, that's gonna be too late. Because by
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
the rest of the world have already touched them through
Yep.
Yes.
social media, through everything else, TV, everything else, the school, their friends, they're already exposed. So the earliest you can get them, and even if you have to start by 2, and like Queen Levon said, some even simple affirmations at 2 when they start talking. I am a beautiful chocolate man. I'm a beautiful chocolate woman. Whatever it is, even start with affirmations so that they can start to even get that in their system, get that in their spirit, that they can start growing, and then you add on. I don't
Hmm.
think there is a time that you can. Oh well, I can wait. No, they're coming
No.
out the womb looking at you like, "Ma, what's up?" No,
Hmm.
let's start the conversation then. Start right then, speaking that into their life. You are a handsome, a black man. You are intelligent. Start speaking that, and as they continue, keep going, and then you have that conversation as things happen because I mean, truth be told, let's be real. Cops are shooting 12-year-olds and killing them. So
Yep.
let's
Yeah.
let's let's understand that our children need to know before they leave the house what's happening
Yep.
out there.
And manhandling kids at schools
Yes.
younger than that.
Yes.
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 The schools that have
The cops.
The
Hmm.
cops,
resource officers. Yeah.
Yeah.
you know.
And they even doing the girls like that. So they're no exception to that either.
Mm. With that being said, I say this. I concur, and if you are not black, maybe you should have those talks with your kids. Um and of course not in the way of acceptance, I guess, in the way of acceptance or those things, or ask a black friend. If you don't have any black friends, put it in the comments on the show. How should I
Hmm.
have this talk with my kid? That's whatever.
Hmm.
Because what you don't want to happen is to find out later you've given birth to a racist,
Mhm.
or your child comes home from being knocked out because they made a racist comment.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Um, that's my 5 cents. Queens, how can the audience um follow you, Queen Shannon?
I can be followed. ShayDonMusic.com is my website. The Real Shaydon, Instagram and Twitter, and Shaydon on Facebook.
Boom, Queen Lyvonne.
I am Lyvonne Copeland on all social media outlets, and my website is lyvonnecopeland.com. So just follow me, comment, and connect.
Boom, shakalaka. And there's a great YouTube channel called Home Team History. I think that's what it's called. And it gives various aspects of Black history that I think, and I do believe that they have like some kid videos on there, but it gives, like, it teaches you Black history worldwide.
Oh,
So I think that is a very, and I will, in the show notes it'll be there because I watch it. I'll send videos to my son, different things like that, because I'm learning stuff. Like
Mhm.
the guy did like Great Queens of Africa. Oh, I'm all for it.
Mhm.
I'm all for it. Um, that was one of the videos that, but all just different videos. So even if you don't know your history or you want to learn more or those things, I would start there. His content is very family friendly, and I'm saying him because that's the voice. Okay, could be a woman with a deep voice or something else. I don't know, sounds like a guy to me. Great channel. And another thing I want to say, this in the words of Dr. John Henrik Clark, who I watch some of his videos. He's long past on YouTube. I debate with my equals. All others I teach.
Mm.
bam,
Mm.
Period.
bam.
So meaning I'm not going to debate whether racism exists or how I should or should not deal with it as a Black woman in 2021. I will instead teach you.
Mhm.
With that being said, have you had the talk yet? How did you handle it? You have questions on having the talk? Let us know. You could comment and find us on the Define You on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you so much for listening. Digest and apply accordingly. Chew up the meat, spit out the bones, whatever. Until next time, have conversations that mean something.
You have been listening to Define You Radio After Dark Conversations. If you learned something, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with your friends, family, and foes. Make sure you go over to DefineURadio.com and subscribe for monthly giveaways and more.